been around the show yet?
I've been here for almost 3 days.
Okay, so what have you seen that you love here?
I love your booth, I have to say, with Saras.
Thank you. Sarah and her brother did a pretty awesome job.
I loved it. When I was there on Thursday, I was tweeting that I wanted to retire in it.
Oh, that's good. Well, you can, except
so
we're tearing it down tonight.
I know. You'll find me sleeping there.
It'll be an early retirement if that happens.
Now, what are the plans for you? Are you working on a new house right now?
We are. Sarah and I are doing our next season of Saras House. I'm not allowed to say a ton about it, but I will say it's in the suburbs, which is kind of interesting.
So can I ask you, is it going to be a bungalow, like Sarah's bungalow?
No, it's not a bungalow.
It's not a bungalow?
No.
Is it a castle? Sarah's castle?
No. I wish it were a hotel.
I feel like eventually it's going to be Sarah's world. And there'll be a
Sarah's
whole
City.
town. Sarah's City.
Yeah. What I can tell you is that we always make an effort every season to do something completely different. And every season of Sarah's House was always meant to be a different type of house.
Yeah.
So that by the time we're done, by the time we retire and into a place like that, we will have addressed the kind of home that all of our viewers live in, hopefully by the time we get to the end of it. So we've done a farm, a cottage on an island, a townhouse, an Edwardian townhouse, a backsplit bungalow, and then next season something totally different.
Very cool. Well, I can't wait to see it.
Thanks.
But what about you, your own place?
My own place. You know what? I just sold my house.
Yeah,
and
because I knew that was in the works, right?
I'm always moving, and I'll tell you why. Because when I come to things like this, people say to me, I watch you all the time. And my response is, I really hope you don't mean like through my apartment windows. I hope you're talking about the TV show, so I move a lot, just to make sure that nobody's, creeping around. But so yeah, I recently moved from a 5-bedroom house into another very small space.
Oh,
so
cool.
It's not finished. And it's an apartment in an old house, so it has a wood-burning fireplace and super high ceilings.
So now, how far along in that you're not started yet, or have you started?
I have just started decorating in there. I've ordered a sofa. It's red.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm indulging
so
in a red
bold.
sofa for the first time since I did my sister's apartment in New York.
So
and don't get excited. It was an apartment in New York, but it was literally this big.
But that takes confidence because do you think you're going to love your red sofa, 5 years from now?
Yes.
You do?
I think red is a pretty classic.
Like, you know that?
I definitely know that, yeah. And I've upholstered it in red silk velvet. So it's a very modern silhouette.
So you don't live with kids or pets, really, right?
No, I don't. I don't. But I have kids and pets over all the time. But my point about that is, what I think is really going to be interesting is that this sofa will evolve over time. In other words, because that material, as you know, is so precious, I'll tell all of you in case you don't know, it has a very pliable nap. So it gets patinaed. If you drop water on it, you'll get a mark. You get a little mark, even from water. So what I'm interested in seeing happen is it's a very, very modern silhouette. It's the Corey sofa from Sarah's furniture line. It's very streamlined, thin arm, tuxedo-style back, and little inset legs. So it's a super modern silhouette, but I think that as the fabric patinas, it's going to go a little bit Harry Potter. Yeah. Like, it's going to get really beat up. There's going to be bald spots on it, and me. And so it'll be something that ages kind of in a cool way, I think.
Well, and that whole look is very popular right now, that whole patina and the idea of something feeling almost vintage. Exactly. It gets character. Yeah. And I think that's something that people in general need to embrace a bit more, is that character is good. Yeah. And if it's, even I get suckered in by the fact that everything has to be new and clean. Exactly. So you have to embrace the imperfections. Yeah, and you know what Sarah said once, we were doing, redoing her kitchen, and she ordered a stainless steel counter, and a couple of people were saying as it was being installed, aren't you so nervous about it getting scratched? And she said, you know what, the first scratch hurts like hell. All the rest of them, not a problem. Okay, so now you live in you're going to be living in a small space. Yeah. Again, and you lived in one before. I did. So just as a prelude to what we're going to be talking about on the stage, which is designer tricks. Exactly. What is your favorite small space trick? You know, it's not so much a trick, but my favorite thing to talk about regarding small spaces is I don't think that you need to address your small space as though you're trying to make it feel bigger. I think you have to celebrate the fact that it is small. The smallness. Yeah, so when Linda featured my tiny apartment in the small spaces issue of House and Home, it was the smallest space that they'd ever featured in the 20-year history, 20-some-odd year history. It was 185 square feet. That story had such legs. People were so interested in that. I mean, it's a famous space now. It is. It's probably one of the most popular spaces we've ever featured. Yeah, and who knew? I mean, I did it because I thought it was an interesting thing to talk about. Like, how do you live in 185 square feet? And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. But
what I did there, which is unusual, which is maybe why people reacted so much to it, is I painted it off black. It's a charcoal gray.
The whole thing, right?
Yeah, and I think people's instinct is to go with pale blue or white.
To go lighter and more open.
Exactly, and try and make it feel bigger. But I didn't want that. I thought I want my cozy small space to feel exactly that.
Well, that's fabulous. Thank you so much for stopping in. And everybody, be sure to come and see Tommy and I on the main stage at 2 o'clock, where we're going to go through a whole bunch more designer tips.
Yeah, maybe some singing and dancing.
None of that.
Are you sure?
None of that.
Okay.
You can do that.
Okay. I won't make
Thanks so much for
Thanks.
coming. Thank you.